Hello guys, this is going to be the last part in the 8-speed swap. It's going to be two things combined. I'm going to talk about the manual shifter that I'm using from the charger right here. Okay, now when you use this, I don't know if I say it in the other video, in any of the video clips, but when you use this shifter, you have to make sure that either you get the transmission from a charger that has this shifter, or if you get it from a truck, you're gonna have to switch out the valve bodies. Okay, and then I'm also going to talk about how I got the old shifter, automatic shifter, to work for the, what do you call it, the manual neutral switch, just in case like the car dies, no electricity, or nothing powers up and you can't shift it into neutral. You have like an emergency manual neutral switch. So that's what I'm going to talk about in these videos. There's going to be two of them, and I'll go ahead and show you how I did that. Alright guys, so that right there on this 8-speed transmission, this is the lever that puts it into the emergency neutral switch when you need to get it towed, when the vehicle's not working. So on these, you need this just in case, right? So this cable right here is your shifter cable from the Durango or the Dakota. This is the one that used to shift the transmission. So this right here is the one, you know how you use the steering column shifter? That's what that is. That's the cable. So all I did is just some scrap metal or scrap brackets I had. I made this, I put it on this hole and this hole. See where the fittings are for the in and out lines for the transmission? There's a hole here and a hole here. I just made a bracket, then I drilled the correct hole to fit in, and it snaps in right there. And this is the bracket that it goes. And I tested it and it works. You just pull that lever all the way down with the key on, and it'll put it in neutral for you. So that right there is pretty cool. And this thing, you know, it's on there pretty, it just clicks on there pretty solid. I mean, you have to really like yank on it to get it off. But yeah, so that is the normal. So that's how the bracket's going to be. I'm going to take it off and clean it up. Maybe take some sharp edges off. But there you go, that's neutral. So this is the bracket. So these are the two bolts that bolt up to the transmission right underneath the tranny lines. And then I drilled out a pretty big hole I drilled out all the way to the end of this. Still wasn't big enough, so I just took a Dremel. Yeah, one of these. Stuck this on my drill, and then just kept boring out the hole until it fit, and then that's it. And then I bent this at whatever angle I needed to do and drilled out the two holes. This was for something on the old swap or one of the other vehicles that I had. See, these are other like brackets and things that hold wires and hoses and stuff, and I keep all this stuff for these purposes. So there we go, and that's it. I'm just going to paint it up so it doesn't rust, and then that's it. Alright, so first video on doing the 8-speed swap into the 02 Durango. So as you see, this is the center console. I'm taking it apart. So see how high this thing is, the shifter? Even if I sat it on the floor, see, this is the floor, and see how much it's still gonna stick up. I don't know where I can cut it out, stick it there, be able to have a shift here like this, you know, but that'll be down there, and I'll still have about 2 inches of space that I gotta fill up. So what I did is I was at the junkyard looking for an extra motor mount for this because I'm making a jig for the Hemi swap mounts. I'm making a jig so I can weld up stuff for motor mounts for people. So, but anyway, and I noticed in one of the forums someone did like a charger swap, a charger center console swap. So I went in and I was in the Chrysler area, so I saw some in the Jeeps, Cherokees. So this is out of an 04 Cherokee, and so this is where they had a shifter that was on the console. I mean on the center console here, and it was right here, and it sits up quite a bit higher from the frame. So what I did in the junkyard is I took one that I found and I put it in a Durango in the junkyard that their center console was already out. So I just took that, slipped it in. Now this is shorter from front to back. Then you have this kind of funky thing on the Durangos. This is like flat with a coin tray and a drink cup holder. But it fits in between, and because this comes up, it leaves a gap there, so I'll have to trim this down so it sits flat, and it almost measures perfectly with this gap. If you set the edge of the boot right there, that little cover plate of the boot on the shifter, if you set it right there at the edge, it doesn't come past here. So I'll be able to bolt it directly to the trans tunnel. So what I'm going to do is I'll take out that one. Now it's unbolted, so I'm going to take the one out of the Hemi. I'm going to slide this one in here, and I'm going to show you how it looks. So the one in the Durango doesn't have this, so I don't know. We'll check it out and see. Okay, so as you can see, here is Cherokee. Of course, there's some compartments that I haven't put on yet, so we can go back a little bit, cover that up, so you sit comfortable here. Then you'd have your shifter here, you know. Kind of can straighten it out, but that's the problem, is when you scoot it all the way back, you know, you have this big gap up there. You know, this will be covered, but then you still have that. So I could either just trim it off here and just use it for the shifter like that. So, but this will go down. See how this gap is here? Hold on, let me get out. See how that gap is there, right? So part of that reason is this hits. So if I trim it down here like that, it'll sit. Let's see. Let me see if I can prop this up in any way. I probably can't, but so that's kind of with it pushed down most of the way. It doesn't fit bad. I mean, it looks, you know, looks pretty decent. The plastic is the same. It's the same plastic, you know. Then it has its own little compartment. Then all I'd have to do is just build a little spacer for that to fit up here like that. And then just while driving, you know, I'll be able to shift because it'll be sitting up here. All right, guys. So the center console for this 8-speed swap, I did go in and I test fitted on what is it, 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is that one right there. Okay, but it's really wide, like, and it didn't fit great here or here at the bottom. So I was at the junkyard and I saw a 2010 Dodge Journey. And so this is the console. And then if you set, you know, and if you get this to set in here, that's perfect with kind of the ergonomics of the car, right? I mean, because I can put my elbow here, right? And then I can have this shifter perfect. With the shifter here, boom, 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 right? The slides. The only thing is if you can see the difference between the two, right? So this is the Journey. It's more long in the front. And then the Durango, it's longer in the back, but drops in the front, right? I mean, and so in the Journey, I'm trying to get the cup holders to these, which are very similar. They'll come here, but they also come here and up. So they might be able to just come up here and secure up here. So I might be able to put the transmission controller, here somewhere. I got it from LKQ. I couldn't find any place in town that had one other than You Pull It, but the one that You Pull It, this part was broken. So I got this one at LKQ. Now I gotta try to find the cup holders, but I think this can get us started, right? But this sits perfect, right? And the plastic is pretty close to how the Durango's is. It's not a big deal. I think the shade of the color is the same. It's pretty the same too. So, you know, if you talk about the ergonomics of it, if I put that up there and here, right, it's all pretty, like, you know, I can keep my elbow here and mess around there, right? So I think I found a solution. And if those cup holders don't work, you know, it looks like, you know, if you look at where those cup holders end up, it looks like, you know, if I want cup holders or some place to hide this here, I can just kind of trim them off here and then slide it in here somewhere and work it to where you can't see the seam very well. I mean, you'll be able to see the differences in the plastic right next to each other, but I think it'll be okay. But I am going to definitely try to get those cup holders and just more modify up here to fit here than anything. But that's it. Also too is, so if you see, this is what my shifter came in, right? And I got it from the junkyard. So what I'm going to do is take this frame off here. And I think all I'm going to have to do is just kind of melt it right there. And those pieces, just cut those off and take the little frame apart. Or wait, you know what I mean? Some way I can maybe unclip it. And then be able to use, and then put, figure out some way to build a plastic piece here with that frame in it, and then be able to use it. Then obviously I'd have to build some type of raise on the floor, like down here, so that this can sit secure, because it's going to sit here. And as you can see, it's probably good, well, I don't know, 6 inches from the bottom of this is good as 6 inches from the floor. So I have to build something to hold it up. from the floor, which would be pretty cool. But anyway, that's the plan with this. There are some, if you kind of can see too, there are some kind of gaps there. Yes, the truck's dirty. I have to clean it before all this stuff goes in. But you can't see the gaps because the seat's in their way, and it'll also allow for wiring if I need to. But definitely a ton of space down there where a lot of the extra wiring can go. So, all right. Okay. So this is the cup holder part where I need to trim against my console, my gauge console, like where the AC and all that stuff, the middle console. Not the middle console, yeah. Anyway, this goes on the floor. So if you see here, I have to trim that off right here. So hold on, let me turn this down. Pause it. So I'm gonna trim it even with this all the way to here, and that'll allow it to sit flush on the floor, and then I'll start working on that. So I'm gonna do that first. I don't really know how I'm gonna cut it yet. Maybe razor blade. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I cut that lip off. Excuse me. Dang. See, and now that lip is still there. See that? It's still there. And then that one's not. I may still have to maybe touch up a little bit here, but as long as I get that out, it's going to sit. And I just used one of our sharp knives in the house. We have sharpeners, you know, but it's not one of our best knives, and that's what I cut it with. So okay, so I got it back. As you can see, I messed it up. So I'm just gonna get another one and retry, but this will just kind of give me a little bit more of an open eye of what to expect, right? So obviously it's not going to follow the same trace as the old one, but you start vacuuming out, and then you can and then here's the shifter, right? You have your cup holder still, little tray there, got the trays down there. This thing slides forward and back depending on how you like it. There, and we just got to line it up, but I feel like if you come here 4 inches is good enough front to back, but not the height. So I'm really messed that up. So I'm gonna have to figure out the good way to do that. But at least now I can mock it up, right? So I can figure out where I want like all my wires to run. That module can sit under here. Or I can, I don't know, man. I kind of want the module to sit somewhere I can access it, right? Access it. You know, and then we have a USB port and OBD2 port, which I can install somewhere in this or somewhere just in there. But that's kind of where it is. And I think I'll probably run the shifter wire, the electrical wire for the transmission that is going to go to the transmission somewhere right here, which that'll put it up there by the T case. But if I go like up here by these cup holders, bring it up underneath the cup holders, that'll be more right above where the connector is on the transmission. But figure it out. Messed up my mock-up, man, damn it. Man. But if I get it cut nice, I mean, it'll fit. It'll fit good. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, it won't have that ragged edge because you just clean them off, but, you know, it'd be able to fit up in here, and then you can use it like normal. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to do that. Dang it. See, I just started cutting. I should have just cut. And it's one thing that I did learn, but didn't practice it this time, is you got to cut a little bit at a time. Right? A little bit at a time. And even on this, I probably shouldn't have cut this little piece off so much either. But alright guys, so I ended up deciding to use my old Durango console. As you see, like, I tried using some of the other ones, but as you see in some of the other videos periodically. So all I did is just cut this center section out, and I screwed it down, just regular screws. I do not know how I'm going to do this yet. I will put riv nuts in there when I finally get it all designed. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know when I'm going to do it. Thinking about using some ABS plastic to kind of make a wall here to cover this up. I don't know yet, so I can't give you guys a final on that because I don't know when I'm going to do it. And then as far as the wiring, it's just back here. You can see it. There's a little notch back there because it all runs through under here. And then, so this is where I have my air fuel ratio connections. This is where I hold my HP tuners. Man, HP tuners connections, and all that stuff, and the gauge that I use for my AFR is in here. So when I want to use it, I just pull it out and tune it, and then that's what these wires are. So they'll just come down on when I want to use it. So I'm just using the regular one, and that's it. Oh, and the data cables are down here. OBD2. This is where you can connect up to a laptop, and this is just another CAN bus signal. So when I put this panel on, I'll put it next to this one here, this OBD2. And that is the final what I'm going to do. This, still don't know. All right.